The rain hammered against the subway entrance where Marcus huddled with his 7-year-old daughter Emma, their cardboard shelter already dissolving into mush. He pulled her closer, feeling her small body shiver through the thin blanket they shared. 3 months since the eviction, 2 months since he'd lost his job at the electronics repair shop, and still no luck finding work. His skilled hands, once steady enough to repair the most delicate circuits, now trembled from cold and hunger. "Daddy, I'm scared," Emma whispered, her voice barely audible above the storm. Marcus kissed the top of her head, tasting the salt of his own tears. "It's going to be okay, sweetheart. Tomorrow will be better." The words felt hollow, but hope was all he had left to give her. That's when the sleek black car pulled up to the curb, and everything changed. Victoria Sterling stepped out of her Bentley, her designer heels clicking against the wet pavement as she hurried toward the office building. At 28, she was the youngest CEO in her company's history, having inherited Sterling Industries after her father's sudden death 2 years ago. The weight of his legacy pressed on her shoulders like the expensive coat she wore. Beautiful, but sometimes suffocating. She was halfway to the entrance when she heard it, a child's quiet sob echoing from the subway stairs. Victoria paused, her hand on the building's glass door. She trained herself to walk past such scenes. New York was full of them, and she couldn't save everyone. But something about that particular cry pierced through her carefully constructed armor. Against her better judgment, she found herself walking toward the sound. Marcus saw her approaching and instinctively pulled Emma behind him. He'd learned to be wary of well-dressed strangers, so they usually meant trouble or false promises. "I'm sorry," Victoria said softly, crouching down to their level despite her expensive clothing. "I heard crying." "Are you both okay?" Up close, Marcus could see something unexpected in her eyes. Genuine concern, not the mixture of pity and disgust he'd grown accustomed to. "We're fine, miss. Just waiting out the storm." Victoria's gaze fell on the small toolbox beside Marcus, its contents neatly organized despite their circumstances. Precision screwdrivers, tiny pliers, electronic components are the tools of someone who understood delicate work. "You're good with electronics?" she asked. Marcus nodded cautiously. "Used to repair watches, phones, computers. Haven't worked in a while, though." Victoria hesitated, then reached into her purse and pulled out an antique gold pocket watch. Her father's watch, the one thing of his she carried everywhere, though it had stopped working months ago. Every repair shop she'd taken it to had failed to fix it. "This belonged to my father," she said, her voice catching slightly. "It hasn't worked since he died." "I know it's probably impossible, Buter." "May I?" Marcus asked, extending his hand. The watch was exquisite, clearly expensive, with intricate engravings covering its surface. As Marcus examined it under the dim streetlight, his experienced fingers traced the delicate mechanisms. "It's beautiful. Swiss-made. Probably 1940s. The spring mechanism is seized." But he looked up at Victoria, seeing something fragile beneath her polished exterior. "I might be able to help, but I'd need better light and a steady surface." Victoria made a decision that would have shocked her board of directors. "There's a coffee shop across the street. Would you both like to get warm while you work on it?" An hour later, Emma was contentedly eating a grilled cheese sandwich while Marcus worked on the watch at a corner table. Victoria sat across from them, nursing a coffee she'd barely touched, watching this homeless man's hands move with the precision of a master craftsman. "You're very good at this," she observed. Marcus smiled for the first time in weeks. "My father taught me." He said watches are like hearts, so they just need the right touch to start beating again. As he worked, Emma chatted innocently with Victoria, telling her about their situation with the matter-of-fact honesty that only children possess. Victoria learned about Marcus's late wife, the medical bills that had bankrupted them, the layoffs at the repair shop, and their desperate search for housing. "Daddy's the smartest person in the whole world," Emma declared. "He can fix anything except our broken life." Victoria's throat tightened. "I'm sure he's trying his best, sweetheart." Marcus's hands stilled for a moment, then continued their delicate work. Finally, after what felt like hours, he wound the watch carefully and held it to his ear. "Tick, tick, tick. I think I've got it," he said quietly, handing it back to Victoria. As Victoria took the watch, something incredible happened. The moment her fingers touched the gold surface, a voice emanated from within, a faint but unmistakable, "Victoria, my dear daughter." Victoria's hands shook so violently she nearly dropped the watch. It was her father's voice, clear and warm as if he were sitting right beside her. Marcus and Emma stared in amazement as the voice continued. "If you're hearing this, then someone with true skill and a pure heart has awakened the recording mechanism I had installed. I wanted you to have something more than just a timepiece here. I wanted you to have my words whenever you needed them most." Tears streamed down Victoria's face as her father's voice filled the small coffee shop. Other customers began to gather, drawn by the miraculous sound of a watch speaking with the wisdom of the departed. "Remember, my darling, that wealth isn't measured in dollars but in the lives we touch. The greatest investments aren't in stocks or bonds, but in human kindness. Look for angels disguised as ordinary people. They often come when we need them most, wearing the faces of those society has forgotten." Victoria looked across the table at Marcus, understanding flooding through her. Her father's words weren't just a message here, they were a directive. A final piece of guidance from beyond. "I have to tell you something," she said, her voice shaking. "I've been carrying this watch everywhere, hoping against hope that someone could fix it. Every repair shop in the city tried and failed. But you didn't just fix the mechanism. You helped me hear my father's voice again." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I just did what I could, miss." "No," Victoria insisted. "You did something extraordinary. And my father was right about angels." She pulled out her business card with trembling hands. "I'm Victoria Sterling, CEO of Sterling Industries. And I have a proposition for you." By the following Monday, Marcus had a job as head of Sterling Industries' new electronics restoration department, a position Victoria created specifically for his unique skills. The company provided housing assistance, healthcare, and even a scholarship fund for Emma's education. But the real miracle wasn't the job or the financial security. It was the friendship that bloomed between the homeless man who had nothing but gave his skill freely, and the wealthy woman who had everything but had lost her way. 6 months later, Victoria would often find Marcus in his new workshop, carefully repairing delicate timepieces while Emma did her homework nearby. The watch continued to speak with her father's voice whenever she wound it, but she'd learned that the most important message wasn't stored in its mechanical heart. It was the lesson that true wealth lies in recognizing the extraordinary in the ordinary, in seeing angels where others see only strangers, and in understanding that sometimes the most profound fixes come not from expensive solutions, but from the simple generosity of a human heart willing to help another beat again. Marcus never forgot the trainee night when a broken watch became the key to rebuilding their lives. And Victoria never forgot her father's final lesson, that the greatest treasures aren't kept in vaults, but shared in moments of unexpected grace between strangers who become family. The watch still ticks today, marking time not just in hours and minutes, but in moments of kindness that echo through eternity.